you guys. Happy Monday. I was feeling like fish today, and I was at the grocery store, and I almost bought some salmon, and then I remembered how my children feel about it, and they really prefer whitefish, and that's totally fine. Um, we all have our preferences, and it turns out, I decided to make some stuffed whole trout. I have not made this for you guys, and because I haven't made it for a while, but it's something that I've been making since I was in high school. And it could not be simpler. Again, I mean, this is like such a great Monday night thing to do. And a lot of times, I'm sure you've seen those whole trout in the fish case and been like, what am I going to do with that? It's very easy. They've cleaned them for you already. They usually don't scale them, unfortunately, but most of the time we're not going to eat the skin anyway. So I just have two of them. They're in this paper, and we'll take those out in a minute. I have a pan here that is coated, lined in foil. I put some in lengthwise, and then I put another piece that was longer across this way. Because what we're going to do is I have the oven on at 350, and we're going to make the stuffing. We're going to stuff the trout. We're going to put a little olive oil on top of them, and we're going to close up the foil, and we're going to bake them for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to open up the foil, and I'm going to turn on the broiler and broil them for about 5 minutes to get this, get everything kind of crispy. And that's it. That's the game plan. So what we have is, and one of the reasons I thought about making this is that I have kind of a lot, I had all this stuff. And one of those things is I have some leftover, like, good bread, okay? And it's just, whatever. I'm going to cut this into cubes, and then I'm going to put it in the food processor to make breadcrumbs, okay? So it's really easy. You just kind of slice it up, and kind of matchsticks, just like everything else, right? We're always slicing things in matchsticks and then going across. And that's just to kind of help the food processor deal with it. If you throw 3 whole pieces of bread in there, it's going to struggle a little bit. So I actually have my little guy today, because that's all, all we're doing is a couple pieces of bread. And honestly, 3 slices is probably more than we need. Shoot, I took my blade out and now it's stuck. I'd say probably 2 is fine. Why isn't this going down? It's because there's bread in there. Get that out. Put this back on. This is, food processors, it's funny. They are, they're like this so you don't hurt yourself. And if you don't get the pieces in exactly right, you can't, it won't go. Which I guess is a good thing, but sometimes it's a little frustrating. Okay. I'm going to whiz that up, and actually maybe before I whiz that up, and since my burner is still not working, the guy came today and he needs to order a part. They always need to order a part. Anyway, so I have 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and I'm going to put this in kind of a pan that you wouldn't be expecting. I'm going to put it in this kind of pan. Pot, I guess I should say. It's like a 2-quart pot. And I'm going to put this over here. Wrong burner. The default. And I'm going to take, I have half a shallot here. So since I'm doing, I'm doing 2 trout. And this is kind of like if you were doing 4, you do a whole shallot. You do more butter, you do more bread, etc. You understand how that works. So I'm going to chop this up. The dog is whining at the door, and I know that he does not need to go to the bathroom. All he wants to do is go and bother the birds that have decided to come out, and the squirrels. And I apologize for his mouthiness. He just thinks he needs to do things right now when he wants to. Oof. Aha. That's close. Almost cut my finger. Okay, so this is you know, just, let's see, it's like a couple tablespoons of shallot chopped up, okay? Kind of half a large one, one small one. I did cut my finger. Not bad enough to stop. I also have some mushrooms, and it's just 3 of them. And those, you know, mushrooms kind of add a little body and a little moisture to the stuffing. I mean, that's kind of the balance with stuffing is, you know, the bread is soaking up the moisture, so you don't want it to get too dry. You want to make sure that there's some moisture in there, but you don't want it to get too soggy, which is why the bread's there. I mean, partly the bread's there to create something out of nothing. You know, do something with some stale bread. So I'm just cutting these mushrooms into little pieces, about like that, like a centimeter dice or less or more, since mushrooms are not square. And I'm gonna saute those up. And oh, and I didn't say why. So the reason I'm using that kind of pot instead of a small skillet is that I'm just going to use that as the bowl where we're gonna mix the stuffing, because I don't see any reason to saute something and then put it in a bowl and then, you know, I've already got, you know, other dishes going. So I'm gonna use my little spatula. I'm gonna stir that around. We're gonna add just a little bit of salt to it. You know, like half a teaspoon of salt. And I'm gonna get this lid on my food processor. This is sourdough bread, so it's a little tougher than the normal sandwich bread. But you can use whatever bread you want. I know that's super loud. And the reason I'm pulsing this is so that the breadcrumbs that are on top will float down to the bottom. Okay, so that's done. Now I also have a lemon here. And so basically this is what we're gonna do. Okay, I've got the mushrooms and the shallots and the, Winston, be quiet. I don't know why he's like this. He's so insistent that everybody pay attention to him. So we're gonna do some herbs here, okay? I have some marjoram. You know how I feel about marjoram. I think marjoram's the best. We're gonna do marjoram and parsley and tarragon. You can do other things if you want, but that's what I have. And I think about, you know, a good couple tablespoons of herbs total, okay? Because that is really, you know, otherwise it's just bread. You don't want a stuffing that's just bread. You want it to have some interest. You're trying to impart flavor to the fish. The stuffing isn't just there as a side. The stuffing is there to flavor the fish as well as, you know, the other function of it, which is as a side, you know? So just a little bit of tarragon, not as much. And you know, I would say if you're thinking proportions, you know, 3 parts parsley to 2 parts marjoram to 1 part tarragon. I've got this nice little pile of parsley, and that I'm just gonna kind of do those all together in a nice little pile and chop them up finely, because you know, you don't want big, the whole thing with stuffing is you want it to, everything to be kind of a consistent size, right? Now the nice thing too about the small amount of mushrooms and the small amount of shallots is they're just about done without much attention from me, right? Okay. I'm gonna stir those up with just a little bit more. I'm gonna take my lemon. We got our microplane, and I'm gonna zest this lemon into the pot. I'm gonna turn off the heat. I don't want these to get super browned. They don't need to be super soft because they're gonna go in the oven for a while too. And you don't want them to lose all of their, this is not like a thing where you're wanting it to be super, super soft. You know, you want it to still, the pieces, the parts of the stuffing to still look like what they are. You know, this is not like one of those Thanksgiving stuffings where everything is really, really soft and it's just kind of like almost like a savory bread pudding. I like that kind too. You know, we've made that kind together, but that's not what this is. So I'm not going to zest this whole lemon. It's about half of it. If I were doing 4 trout, then we'd do the whole thing. Okay. And look, there's still some in the back. You're just gonna, you know, get it off. This nice little pile of herbs here. See the thing with the pot with the handle. I'm so used to working in Dutch ovens. They never have handles, and then I don't have to worry about it. Just move that. And some toasted almonds. Like, I mean, I love these because they're pre-toasted. And I would say about 1/4 cup, okay? Just like a little handful here. And these will add some nice crunch. The toasty flavor is good. And we've got our breadcrumbs here. And they're not perfectly consistent, but that's totally fine. All right. And some pepper. And one of the things I'm going to do here is, I have to check my time, 12 minutes. I have some chicken stock. And I'm just going to add like a couple tablespoons just to kind of make sure that it's moist enough. Okay? And boy, he's just on a tear right now. So this is what it looks like. Ooh, that's hot. Turns out a pan on the stove is hot. I'm going to add like 3 tablespoons. Maybe 4. So remember, 4 tablespoons is 1/4 cup. You know, not a lot, just enough to moisten it a little bit. And it doesn't need a lot of moistening because it's going in a fish, right? But you just want it to hold together. So that's it. That's the stuffing. All right. I'm going to take these fish out of the packaging. That's why I wanted to do the fish last, because we're going to, so they're like this. They're not huge. You know, but they're cleaned already, and so there's nothing inside. There's just the cavity, right? These are kind of big. Sometimes they're not this big, but that's okay. So I'm just going to lay them in this pan, and, you know, just like that, okay? And I'm going to take this stuffing. I'm going to have to do this off camera. And then we'll, here, I'll move this here. Oh, I have a spoon. See, sometimes I'm thinking ahead. Wants to know. He smells the fish. You know, this is more stuffing than will fit in 2 fish. You know, maybe this is a better recipe for 3. See, this is what happens sometimes. But that's okay. If you have extra stuffing, see, I do have extra stuffing. If you have extra stuffing, just put it kind of around the fish. Okay? And because, as I said, you know, it is sort of a side. Okay? There we go. Now I have 1 clean hand, and I'm going to attempt an amazing feat of opening the olive oil one-handed. I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil, just drizzle a little bit on the skin. Okay. And then we're going to roll that up so it looks like this. All right. And we're going to roll up that foil, and then we're going to close the ends. All right. So it's closed, but I want it to be, don't like do it super tight. Okay, you want it to be loose enough that you can let it out. So remember, 350 for 15 minutes closed, 5 minutes on a broil, okay? Bye. Bye.